Hey, Brandon here. Welcome back to the channel. It's finally here. The NFL draft is finally freaking here. All right. And today it is Friday, the day after day one of the NFL draft. So I'm going to do a very quick show here today. An initial reaction show, basically the winners and losers for our future dynasty rosters. We're going to give out landing spot grades. We're going to talk about ADP. We're going to talk about opportunity. So listen, I appreciate you tuning in. Hit that subscribe button. This channel is dedicated to dynasty owners like yourself, Devy players, everyone out there who are looking for future dynasty assets. All right. So on this channel, I've got films, I've got rookie breakdowns of every player we're going to talk about today. I've got a detailed rookie profile on this channel. So again, thank you for tuning in. And it's great because we're getting the final pieces of the dynasty puzzle, right? Draft capital and landing spot. So let's get right to it. Now, listen, we're doing this without the rest of the draft. I'm doing this Friday afternoon, the day after round one, tonight, round two. Can't wait. I'm going to be doing a show like this for round two, for day two, rather, and day three. So, again, thanks for tuning in. So there might be some changes, that happen with day two picks, day three picks, but right now that's all we got. We are going to base everything on what we know on the day after day one. So let's get right to it. All right. First guy picked. Everyone thought it was going to be Bryce Young. It ended up being Bryce Young. Panthers, kind of all the rumors out there, that's who was going to take. Listen, the guy is in a decent situation. I'm going to give him a landing spot grade of a B, and here's why. It can't be an A because I'm a little worried about the wide receiver cores, right? You got Terrence Marshall Jr. is really the only known pass catcher that is at all anyone's excited about. They got Hayden Hurst coming over also, who's a really good tight end, so he's probably going to be the security blanket for Young. But I like Frank Reich, too, as a new incoming coach, fresh start. So I'm giving a landing spot of a B because that wide receiver core just isn't going to be great. So they might add some guys on day two and day three. I wouldn't be surprised if they pick another receiver to try and give Bryce Young some help. But listen, this kid, let's talk about rookie ADP. He is going to be a 101 to a 103 pick in this draft without a doubt. It's either going to be BIJAN or Bryce Young. Most likely, those are going to be one of the two guys first pick. Now, from a startup ADP, I think he's going to be a round 2 and 3 guy. I don't see him going in round 1. There's just too much speculation about his height and the landing spot, but there's just too many other good players, established wide receivers and running backs and quarterbacks to be considered a round 1. So I think he's going to be in day 2 or day 3, or I'm sorry, round 2, round 3 of a Devy startup ADP. Now, his opportunity, I can only imagine he's going to be an immediate starter. You're the first pick in the draft. They brought in the guy, the Red Rocket, right? He's going to be kind of the backup this year to kind of help mentor him. So I'm assuming Bryce Young is going to start, but he might not. But I'm going to put him in here as an immediate starter with those intangibles that we know he has. He might just get on the field sooner rather than later. All right. And I think his dynasty value ceiling, I just want to touch upon this, right, as part of the show. I mean, I'm thinking R is going to be a QB1 is the potential that he has if all the stars align. But I can see him probably being a QB2 for a couple years. Once he gets in rhythm, gets some more receivers, a couple draft classes, he may reach into that QB1. But an exciting player, best QB prospect probably. He's got probably the best floor of any of the quarterbacks, maybe not the highest ceiling with the Anthony Richardsons in the class as well. So let's go to the pick number 2 overall in the draft from Houston. Goes with quarterback C.J. Stroud from Ohio State. Giving this a C+, all right? And again, here's why. A lot of new things happening for the Houston Texans, right? New coach, DeMeco Ryans. Bobby Slowick is the new offensive coordinator. It's the first time he's an offensive coordinator. He's only really been a passing coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers last season. He's been hopping around a lot all over the place. So really not so much doubting what they're able to do as coaches because I know nothing about them. But again, 2 new coaches, new to the city, new everything, okay? The depth chart's kind of ugly, man. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Brandon Cooks is off to Dallas. Nico Collins, a player that I like from Michigan, I think is a potential good receiver. Not sure he's a wide receiver 1 on a team. Noah Brown from Dallas is another kind of guy that they got into the class. Liked him from Dallas a little bit. And John Mechie, we're not sure whether or not he's going to be 100% to come back and play. So there's a lot of young guys and inexperienced guys on this wide receiver crew. So that's why I gave him a C+ rating, all right, because of those things. But so let's take a look at his rookie ADP. He's going to be either the first between a 101, probably not 101 really. It's probably more like a 103 to 106 probably. I can see him going in those drafts. And in startup ADP, I think he's probably a round 3 or 4, may sneak into round 2 if there's a big run in a Superflex startup, Devy, or not Devy, a Dynasty League. He might actually go into round 2, but I see him more as a round 3 or 4 pick in the draft, especially because of his landing spot at Houston just isn't, great. And they're going to lean on that running back crew back there. Singletary now is there from the Bills, so I think they're going to really run heavy, giving Stroud. And whether he starts or not, I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to say that he's probably an immediate starter, all right? Okay, so let's go to Indianapolis. With the 4th pick, they take Anthony Richardson, right? Probably the highest risk-reward quarterback in the class. I don't think anyone's too, surprised that he isn't landing in this particular spot in Indianapolis. A lot of people thought they were going to move up to try and grab him. Looks like they could just stay right where they go. Get their guy, Shane Steichen. I'm horrible with names. If you watch this channel, you know that already. But anyway, he's coming from my Philadelphia Eagles, man. So he is, been our OC for a while. He's got a new gig. I trust him. He did a really nice job here in Philadelphia developing Jalen Hurts. And I think Gardner Minshew is the one who's going to start the season. He's coming from Philly as well. So Shane kind of knows Gardner, and those two I think could start. Anthony Richardson's I can see Stroud starting. I can see Young starting, but I can't see Anthony Richardson starting. I think everyone will tell you out there that you need to let this guy marinate a little bit on the bench. He's got a lot of great upside, but you don't want to put him out there too early and just completely ruin his confidence, all right? The depth chart's not great, so that's why I'm kind of giving him a B. I really like the new head coach situation. Again, the draft isn't finished. The Colts might take a receiver here on day 2 tonight, but he's got Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce, man, and that's all he's got going for him. He's got Jonathan Taylor, great running game. I think the offensive line, was ranked around mid, like 15 last year, so they should be able to protect him when he does get in there. But it's going to be I think it's going to be the Jonathan Taylor show again, assuming he can stay healthy this year. So Anthony Richardson gets a B landing spot grade for me. His rookie ADP, I think he's between the 3rd and the 6th pick, kind of like Stroud. I think, if somebody wants a safer quarterback, they might go Stroud. If somebody wants the high upside ceiling quarterback in the rookie drafts, they're probably going to take a Richardson. So I can see a 103 to kind of 106. Startup ADP, I think it's kind of the same. It's probably round 3 or 4. I can see where he is going to be taken. A lot of people are going to get excited, but rounds 2 of a startup or dynasty league, you're going to see a lot more quality players. I don't think anyone's going to take a reach with Anthony Richardson that soon. So I'm thinking around 3 or 4 ADP in a dynasty startup. His opportunity, I think, is a future starter. I think Gardner Minshew, like I mentioned, is going to be the starter. And his dynasty value ceiling, I think he could be a QB2, potentially maybe be a QB1. But I think that's going to be years down the road. So I think if you have Anthony Richardson, you draft him in your rookie drafts, or if you've got him on your Devy roster and he's already on your roster and you're going to be plugging him in next year, you're probably going to have to wait a year or 2 to get production from him. But the upside could be really, really good. Okay. Let's go to the Falcons. They select with the 8th overall pick in the 1st round, BIJAN Robinson. A lot of people thought he was going to go to my Eagles. I'm so glad he didn't. I'm so glad who we took and then Jalen Carter. I'm going to give a B+ landing spot grade here. Okay, he is going to be heavily involved in basically in this backfield immediately. Okay, they're obviously going to go with Desmond Ridder. He is going to be the quarterback of the future. He's going to be the starter this year. Tyler Algier, he is going to be a loser in this particular gamble. Okay, so I think it's probably going to be a 50-50 split in the beginning of the year, and then BIJAN basically taking over. But I could see there being an equal split early on, with BIJAN eventually taking the reins and kind of fading Tyler Algier out. So all you Algier owners out there, you probably lost your opportunity to sell. His value is declining. He would be considered a loser on this show, since it is titled Winners and Losers. All right. So, but John's going to make life easier for Desmond Ridder. That's just basically what's going to happen. So listen, rookie ADP, this kid is the 101, not going to get out of the 103. I mean, I can't imagine even in super flex leagues, I think he is going to be the guy most people hang their hat on with the 101 pick. Startup ADP, I think he's a round 1 pick and might slide into round 2. But man, we got rookie fever when we play this dynasty game, and people want the new shiny toy. So I don't see him getting out of round 1. Opportunity, I think he's like an immediate starter. Dynasty value ceiling, he could be potentially an RB1, easily the RB1 in all of dynasty, just like Jonathan Taylor was last year. Breece Hall looked like he was going to be the guy last year before his injury. So he's going to be up there. I always see 2 or 3 backs rotating that RB1 status, the RB1 meaning the best one in Dynasty. But hey, John Robinson's going to play on turf. He's going to play indoors. He should be explosive. He should get his hands on the ball a lot with Pitts and the other receiver, Drake London, out there. It should be a fun season for the Falcons. All right, let's go to a pick that really a lot of people were kind of scratching their head on. Me too, watching the draft last night with the 12th pick in the first round. The Lions select JAHMYR GIBBS. Kind of crazy. I'm going to give this a landing spot grade of a C, only because they just signed David Montgomery, and I don't really understand. You got Swift there, so Swift now is got to be on the chopping block. But if they didn't like Swift, they should have tried to trade him before the draft, because now after the draft, they obviously all the teams know that you don't like Swift because you just took JAHMYR GIBBS. So what does it mean for JAHMYR GIBBS personally as a dynasty asset in his projection, right? I think, it's going to be a crowded backfield. I mean, I think that's the way it's going to be. He's not maybe the back that the Lions and have a vision of him being the pounder up the middle. They're going to maybe leave that more to David Montgomery, and JAHMYR GIBBS might have more of a kind of a wide receiver / hybrid running back role. So we'll have to, it's going to be interesting to see, basically, how he's utilized in the Lions offense. But it's crowded backfield. That's why I'm giving it a C. I'm sure Swift will be gone. But as far as rookie ADP, I mean, he's a 104 to 110. I think selection in some people are going to not mind the landing spot at all. Some are. I mean, for me personally, I'm not going to worry too much about the landing spot, because I think over time, in maybe 2 years or something, David Montgomery, I don't know what his contract is. He's still going to be drafted early from a rookie ADP standpoint. Startup ADP, I'm thinking round 3 to 4. Again, we'll have to see how the rest of the draft shakes out. And his opportunity, I mean, he's going to be a starter, I think, in a committee. I don't think they signed David Montgomery without already had been scouting JAHMYR GIBBS having a role in their mind. If you saw the reaction on Twitter of the Lions organization after they got GIBBS, I mean, they were jumping around, jumping for joy like they just won millions of dollars. So they obviously really coveted JAHMYR GIBBS, but they also signed David Montgomery. So I think they're both going to get utilized in that backfield. All right. So, and as far as the dynasty ceiling for GIBBS, I think an RB2, especially if he contributes in that PPR realm and world that we're all hoping for. He certainly did that at Bama last year, catching balls out of the backfield. So I can see him being utilized a lot in that capacity. All right, with the 20th pick in the first round, the Seattle Seahawks select JAXON SMITH-NJIGBA. I'm going to give this a landing spot grade of a B. I mean, Geno Smith is obviously the quarterback there for the foreseeable future. I believed he was signed to a new contract. DK Metcalf is really the alpha on that, so it's going to give JAXON SMITH-NJIGBA the ability to slowly take over the Tyler Lockett role. Lockett is, I believe, 28 years old. I think he's close to that age. Maybe, he's probably a little older. So, Tyler Lockett is probably, JSN's his replacement. They're going to be always a running first team, the Seattle Seahawks. That's why I can't give this an A location. Geno Smith, I think they feel like they have got a stabilized quarterback situation now. The kid can throw it all over the field. He was pretty good last year. He might be just a sneaky, really good NFC quarterback this year, actually. So it's great. They're getting him the tools to succeed. So I'm giving that landing spot of a B. Rookie ADP, I'm going to say 104 to the 110. I don't think he's definitely not getting out of the back of the first round and definitely not entering the second round. People are going to be excited. This is the big question, right? You got the landing spot now. We all knew what the draft capital was going to be, so that really shouldn't be playing a role in your, pre-draft ranks, so to speak. So people are just going to have to now decide whether or not they like the environment that JSN finds himself now in Seattle with that run-heavy first team. Kenneth Walker's there. But listen, this dude is twitchy. He's going to get open. He's going to get his targets. And we'll be doing shows on this channel, everyone, like with fantasy projections, target share projections and stuff as we get through the spring and closer into the summer. So as another reminder, a good reason to hit that subscribe button. All right, a few more players here. We got the 21st pick in the first round. The Chargers select Quentin Johnston. So we now have this mini run on wide receivers. I'm giving this landing spot an A. Simply because you're playing with one of the best quarterbacks, all right, in football, and you have two aging wide receivers. Mike Williams is 29 this year. Keenan Allen is 31. So this guy has a great opportunity to play with a great quarterback, learn from two, especially Keenan Allen. You know, because if there's one thing that Quentin Johnston kind of needs to do is learn a little bit more nuance on his route running, and Mike Williams then can take him and say, listen, you got to be physical at the catch point. So, which was my knock on Quentin Johnston, was just his ability at the catch point to kind of come up small at times. But listen, they need to rebuild the wide receiver core. Okay, and this is a great start. All right, from a rookie ADP, he's probably a 106 pick to the 12th pick in the first round. I don't think he's getting out of the first round. There's a lot of haters on Quentin Johnston, so it depends on your draft. But I guarantee if you got 12 guys in your league, there's going to be somebody that's not going to let him fall. He got first round draft capital and playing on the Chargers. I mean, that is about as best of a wide receiver landing spot as you could really kind of ask for. Startup ADP, I think he's round 4 probably, or 5. That's probably where I would see him coming off the board, looking at the talent in front of him. At least that's where I would consider him. His opportunity, I think, is going to be an immediate starter. I mean, Mike Williams is hurt constantly. Listen, you're a first round pick, dude. You're getting on the field early. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, that's just, that's what's going to happen. And his dynasty value, I think he could be a wide receiver too. I think he could easily, a lot's going to have to develop for him to be a wide receiver 1, but I could see him being a wide receiver 2 in the back end of that category there consistently, given his situation there with the Chargers, which is a great one. All right, so like I said, there was a little run on wide receivers with the 22nd pick in the first round. The Ravens selected Zay Flowers, right, one of the probably shiftiest wide receivers in the draft, without a doubt. Most people thought he'd be a first-round pick, so that came out. I'm giving him a landing spot grade of a B. Lamar Jackson just signed his new deal, which is great news for him. I know that must have been a very stressful time for him. Now he's got a shiny new toy with Odell Beckham in town. Rashad Bateman, he's going to be, probably is going to be a loser in this game, as this show was titled, because I don't think that with Odell Beckham there now and Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman has got to keep it together. He's got to be healthy for a full season and get out there and show that he can do it. So, but I really like Zay Flowers in the Ravens. I mean, especially with Lamar Jackson. Can't give him an A only because it's a crowded back wide receiver core already. But, Lamar Jackson, there now, I think solidifies that he should be getting some targets, even though the Ravens do run the ball a little bit. But rookie ADP, I think he's a 108 pick through maybe early part of the second round. I could see people not being enamored with the Ravens wide receiver room, being how crowded it is, number one, and the landing spot with them, usually running the ball heavy. But who knows? With Lamar Jackson back now, with all of these new toys, let's see. Maybe things will change. Startup ADP, I think he's around 4 through round 6. Opportunity, I think he's going to be an immediate starter. There's no reason at all why not to put him in the slot. He played outside as well. That's what they drafted him in the first round for. So all of these guys really should be immediate impact starters. Whether they're impactful on our dynasty teams remains to be seen. But as far as getting on the field, it all should very much happen. All right. His dynasty value ceiling, I could see as a wide receiver 2, most likely wide receiver 3 early in his career, with wide receiver 2 a potential. But we'll probably have to see that after Odell Beckham maybe moves on, or we'll have to see. But I don't expect wide receiver 2 production year 1. But again, it's more of a ceiling discussion for right now. With the 23rd pick in the first round, the Vikings select Jordan Addison. I'm going to give this an A grade. This reminds me of exactly what I have here in Philadelphia with Devonta Smith. Okay, Jordan Addison comes into a situation where, he's got the alpha already on the team with Justin Jefferson. So, which is great because a lot of wide receivers in this class weren't really projected to be wide receiver alpha ones where they were the main guy. So Jordan Addison, this is a great situation for him because defenses are really going to be focused a lot more on Justin Jefferson's ability, and Jordan Addison then will be able to be that number 2, just like Devonta Smith in Philadelphia, where A.J. Brown really takes a lot of the more physical coverage away and lets Devonta Smith work his magic. All right, and I can see the same thing happening. Now, Kirk Cousins is coming back this year, so there could be a transition to a quarterback in the future, but we can't really worry about that because that changes so much from year to year. But it's really no one else. I mean, TJ Hawkinson is catching the ball out of the tight end position. You got KJ Osborne. So I don't know. I think it's a great spot. I think it's a great, we play indoors. You're on the turf. You're, basically wide receiver 1A on a team. So all good things for Jordan Addison. His rookie ADP, I think he's a, back half of the first round, early part of a second round type player. So I can see him going in that range. Startup ADP, again, round 4 through 6. I know I sound like a broken record for a lot of these things, but I kind of see that's where, you know, these guys all starting to be sprinkled into startup ADP dynasty leagues. Opportunity, immediate starter. Dynasty value ceiling, again, wide receiver 2 potential. I think even year 1 on this team, I think there's targets to go around with the Vikings right now. And I think he could possibly have one of the better rookie seasons just because of his opportunity on the field without the other pass catchers there. I think he has a real good opportunity. All right, the last guy we're going to talk about today, everybody, is Dalton Kincaid, taken by the Bills with the 25th pick in the first round. I'm going to give this a landing spot grade of a B. I think he's going to play more of like the Y position than more of an inline tight end. I really don't think that they got Dalton Kincaid to really, you know, want to, you know, be that inline guy. He's a pass catcher. He's a vertical threat. He can win all over the field. So this is a long-term grade of a B. I mean, Dawson Knox, from a winners and losers standpoint, he has got to be a loser in this game. But he's been very sporadic and inconsistent anyway. But Dalton Kincaid, landing spot grade of a B. I think he's got room to get, you know, significant targets early in his career there. His rookie ADP, I'm going to give a 108 to a 205 in that same kind of range. I think he's either going to be late in the first or he could be early in the second. But people are going to love the Bills just playing with Josh Allen in the future. You know, who knows what Dawson Knox, I don't even know what his contract situation is. I mean, he could be a free agent next year. I mean, if that's the case, they're just building for the future. All right, startup ADP, again, rounds 4 through 6. Opportunity, immediate starter, dynasty value ceiling. I think he could be a tight end 2 this year. But we know we have to wait on tight end, so we can't get too, you know, but listen, you know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he could be a tight end 1. Who knows? Tight ends on that list, except for the top 3 or 4, the guys after that in the top 10 or 12, you know, based on how you look at that, it's always kind of getting juggled around because of situations year to year. So there you got it, man. There are my landing grades. There are my winners, some winners and losers of the day 1 of the draft. Again, thank you for watching this show. Please hit that subscribe button to support the channel. All I ask for is a subscription, or, you know, to watch future, you know, episodes. And I'll be doing this, like I said, for the round 2, for day 2 and day 3. All right. So they'll be coming out very soon. Thanks for watching.